What's up, everybody, and welcome back to yet another podcast. And three big things in life are wealth, health, and happiness. And we pursue them in that order, but in reality, we should be pursuing them in the opposite order. So, just a thought for the day before we kick off things. Before I go anywhere, if you're ever here in Andorra, in La Massana, at Crupetta Cafe, check out our socks. They are pretty cool. Well, obviously I'm going to say it's cool because it's a coffee shop, but yeah, these socks with the Crupetta on them, they are pretty cool. So if you're ever around, come buy a pair. Maybe you might just get a free coffee if you're a cyclist. I don't know. You can work out an agreement. Okay, so a little bit of cycling news. I'm going to name a couple of names. And just say whatever pops up immediately in my head, and then we'll also be talking a little bit about training advice and what you can do to improve as a cyclist on whatever level you are, because this advice will be applicable to you. So let's get things kicked off. On cycling news, let me just have a look here. So first thing that was interesting, which I would like to share with you guys, is I don't know if you've seen Mathiue van der Poel's ride in Tour of Switzerland in the time trial today. I see that he has made some upgrades to his TT bike. He's riding more of a custom-made armrest, carbon armrest for his TT bike. So he's trying to make more efforts with the TT. It was only 12 minutes long. Stefan Koen won, but Mathieu van der Poel did not win. Why is that? Well, we know he produces a incredible amount of power, but that's irrelevant up to a certain extent when it gets to time trials. You have to be incredibly aerodynamic. It's not how aero you look on the bike, it's also what the data says. So that's why people go to wind tunnels and pay a huge amount, I think about $40,000 per day just to use that wind tunnel for one rider, maybe two or three. It depends on the engineers working there and the feedback that you get. So I can promise you he was producing probably some of the best numbers, I would say, for about 12 minutes, and he just couldn't get near enough to even remotely win. So yeah, your CDA value is really important in time trialing. Normally a value of around about, the CDA value of around about 1.8 is extremely aerodynamic. I myself am currently at 2.2, that's really bad. But for factors I can't change because of limitations on my bike and equipment I have to use. So that's just to give you an idea that a guy like Mathieu van der Poel, doesn't matter how much power he produces, time trial is not always about power. It's also about how you pedal efficiency, a lot of your skin suit, the time you started early or later on. If you started early on in the day, the wind might have picked up, and that can also affect you negatively. So also teams spend quite a lot looking into data of that. It's best time split. You can upload your GPX file there. It can tell you and your power, and it will exactly tell you what time more or less you're going to ride. It's very accurate if you put in the accurate FTP and the location, or upload the GPX file. Okay, on to the next really incredible performance. Marc Padun. It's the second day in a row he's won the stage. He's performed really well, and he did round about one of the climbs 35 minutes at 6 watts per kilogram. So he really kind of came out of nowhere. That's really impressive. Very, very impressive. It's a incredible performance. I think a lot of big teams are surprised, and there might be a lot of good offers going his way if he continues like that. But yeah. That said, also a big turn of events. Tom Dumoulin is back. I think he was 15th in the time trial. That's really good. He's got a really good CDA value. That's why he doesn't share his Strava files of his time trials normally on Strava. I don't know if he shares his other files, but that's really interesting. The big thing with him is maybe lost a little bit of motivation, but you have to remember that Tom is in a really good team with really good riders like Wout van Aert and Primož Roglic, and if you have been that good and you're surrounded by riders that are that good or even better than you do tend to lose a lot of confidence and also belief in yourself, and I think that has in some way affected Tom, but I'm not going to go into detail with that. Richie Port going really well. Normally your chances, if you've won Tour de Romandie, grows exponentially to win the Tour de France. So definitely maybe this is a year he might win Tour de France. He's podiumed with Trek before. We don't know what's going to happen this year. He's been an amazing domestique with Sky, so I don't know who's going to be the leader. But also another thing what I'm a little bit concerned about is Geraint Thomas does end up crashing quite a lot, like he did today as well, in very important moments. So I really hope he puts that behind him for the time being. Valverde, at the age of 41, is performing extremely well. He still has his sprint on him. And another thing you might not know about him, he lives in Murcia, a really small old town down in the south of Spain. It's pretty cool. He always kind of, there's not many training routes out there. It's good roads, but he always kind of does almost the same road whenever he's there. And he trains with the Gruppetto. He doesn't almost follow a training program, and he just races his mates. That's how Valverde does it. I've seen him at breakfast. He always eats the same thing. He'll talk to the mechanic, so he's very friendly. He doesn't have a big attitude per se around him like other big riders. Sorry for mentioning that. And he always just eats his board of pasta with olive oil. Keeps it simple, and I think that's one of the big reasons he's been such a good athlete. And I think the last bit of news, Tom Pidcock, I don't know if you've seen his crash. Apparently what happened, some people told me, is that the van came out of the driveway and he connected with the van. So I think he's really lucky, only broke the collarbone. Well, obviously very unlucky that he broke anything or that he was even in a crash, but really unlucky he broke the collarbone. But if you do remember, Barry Standard long ago, he T-boned a taxi in South Africa and he passed away, unfortunately. So whenever you are have these impacts with a car that you T-bone, or that goes in front of you and doesn't hit you from behind, the risk of you breaking your neck or something, or going into a coma, is really high because of the impact. So we're really happy that he's okay. And then finally, some training tips the other day. You can check it out on my Strava. I was doing 8 times 5 minutes. I started at 405 watts and built it up to 422 watts, round about in that range, 8 times 5 minutes. And the most important thing with these sessions are that you should never rest more than prescribed. So 8 times 5 minutes, I had 5 minutes rest in between, and it's really important that I only rest that little bit in between to benefit from the workout. This was an extensive FTP workout. It was not a VO2 max training. That would be around about 450 watts with almost less rest in between. So whenever you're out there, try and focus on being very specific with the amount of time you rest in between your intervals. Never go over that. That will hugely increase the efficiency and the quality of your training. And that's all for today's episode. I really hope you like it. Please leave your comments in the section down below, and then I'll try to get back to you to the best of my abilities. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe, please share to your friends, and send all your suggestions my way. I really enjoy your comments. It got quite busy on Reddit. I posted a link here of the previous video, and it was really quite clear that some people did not like or is not that fond of Chris, and felt he does not deserve the salary that he gets, which is absolutely ludicrous. We don't hold a gun against teams' head and tell them what to pay us. They make you an offer, you accept, and that's what you get for the year. It's the same when you sign a contract, you work for a company, that's what you signed for, and that's what you get for the year. If they then want to break that contract, obviously negotiations has to take place, and you have to see what's legal, and that's how any business environment works. So Definitely don't think Chris is getting overpaid, in my opinion, because what does it really mean in this day and age to get overpaid? The team's willing to pay you X amount, and there's a reason behind that. If you underperform, well, that's that. But if a team was willing to pay you that, that's what you deserve. So that's my final wording on this podcast or vlog podcast video. I hope you enjoyed it. That's all for now. Cheers.